I got to go to South Bend. Someone said I have not talked Notre Dame enough. Do we agree with that, by the way? I thought we've talked Notre Dame a fair amount on the show. Nevertheless, it is one of my big questions for 2024. Is this going to be the same Notre Dame or a new Notre Dame? Same old Notre Dame is not a bad thing. Same old Notre Dame would simply mean they're one of the 10 best teams and 10 best programs in the country. Same old Notre Dame will also mean I keep saying that, and people will keep coming at me in the mentions and say, no, Notre Dame's overrated. And then we'll get into that whole back and forth, and we'll end up realizing, no, they're properly rated because no one's ranking them or rating them in the top 4. That's it. Like an age-old debate on the show. If you're new, if this is your first time watching, and I'm speaking so redundantly and monotonally, it's because we've been down that road 1,000 times. Like, I can't be putting Notre Dame at number 8, and you tell me they're overrated, and then I ask, well, where are they rated? Number 8. Like, why shouldn't they be rated number 8? Well, they can't beat Ohio State. Well, Ohio State's like number 3. So they shouldn't be beating Ohio State. Nevertheless, Marcus Freeman's got a really good team this year. It's also the era of the expanded playoff. I think Notre Dame will make the playoff this year. They are minus 170 to make the playoff. Now, that's, I guess, great news. I don't know, depending on your perspective. I guess it's great news, but there's that thing here that's also present with a team like Penn State. We've got teams who, on one hand, we know could change nothing about themselves and be good enough in a 12-team era, whereas they weren't quite good enough in a 4-team era. But that assumes that making the playoff carries the same value that it used to. Well, it doesn't. We may pretend it for a couple of years, but by 2026 or 27, you're going to realize, hey, there are a bunch of teams that are landing like number 9 seeds or number 10 seeds, and we celebrated them the first couple of years, but now we've come to realize, why are we celebrating something now that we wouldn't have celebrated? It's the same caliber of play that we used to see. It's just we lowered the bar. Therefore, they're able to clear the bar now, and then they keep getting beaten once they get in the playoff. Well, that's my question with Notre Dame. Is that what they become? Do they become a team because the bar gets lowered a little bit? They clear it more frequently. And Notre Dame had made the playoffs a couple of times. Don't get me wrong, really, really good program. They had already made the playoff a couple of times, even in the 4-team era. Really good. However, this is a team that kind of profiles as one who will be there every year. Is it just a bunch of one and done? Is it just a bunch of, well, you don't have a conference to win, you get in the playoff, and you get bounced in the first or second round, and that's it? Or, conversely, do we see this new era of Notre Dame football where they're a legitimate national championship player? Because those two things are not the same. Capable of hopping in the playoff versus a national championship contender, those are two totally different things. And then there's that whole other argument that people have had forever of, will they or won't they ever join a conference? And everyone's dug in like an Alabama tick, as Jesse Ventura said. Everybody's dug in on that one way or the other. But the one thing that I guess theoretically could move the needle on that is there's a rule right now. You're not locking down one of those first 4 seeds and therefore a first-round bye unless what? Unless you win your conference. Well, Notre Dame doesn't have a conference to win. So there's a world, of course, where Notre Dame goes 10-2 and they get the 11 seed, and no one thinks about this. But there's also a world that we have a 2012 redo. Notre Dame goes undefeated in the regular season. Imagine Notre Dame being number 1 in the country, and they're undefeated, and then come playoff time, the best they can be is number 5, because they can't be one of the top 4 seeds. And they agreed to this. This is not some breaking news to them. They signed off on it. They agreed. They said, yeah, we understand. We could never have a first-round bye. We get it. We're maintaining our independence. Well, they may very well feel that way. There's no way to truly test that theory. Just like a dam, there's no way to know if that thing's fully fortified until we put some water pressure on it. I'd kind of be interested to see this world where Notre Dame's number 1 or number 2 in the country, undefeated, great season, better than a lot of teams that are going to get buys, but they don't get one. And they have to go play some red-hot team in the first round, and even if they win, they get banged up, and when they go into the second round and they play a rested Ohio State, and they get beaten overtime, and they're sitting there thinking to themselves, wait a minute, did we just cost ourselves a shot at the national championship for the sake of independence? The answer may be yes. And then the follow-up question is independence that important to us? And for a lot of them, it is. I've never been mad at Notre Dame's independence. Never had a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it now. But as the world of college football changes, I'm just openly curious, if that were to go down that way this year or any other year, is that enough? Is that enough to change some minds?